So I'm going to start the podcast today with a recitation of these lyrics that I found from one of my favorite bands and one of my favorite songs. And I don't think that there has been a moment in my life that this song has been more apt for. I think this is the best use of this song. Ironically, in 2004, I believe, at the FIFA World Cup, England used this song to cope with their exit in the semifinal. I believe was if I'm not mistaken. But right now, the song just is exactly the encapsulation of what I feel. And the lyrics go like this: because all of the stars are fading away, just try not to worry, you'll see them someday. Take what you need and be on your way, and stop crying your heart out. And then the second chorus goes: we're all of the stars, we're fading away. Just try not to worry, you'll see us someday. Just take what you need and be on your way, and stop crying your heart out. I think the Backward Point boys would dedicate this to Naseem Shah today after a valiant effort near the end of the match, and then he was escorted off of the ground with tears in his eyes, hugging Shaheen as he left the boundary ropes, and probably with him the hopes of Pakistan continuing on into this World Cup. Welcome back to Backward Point Podcast. My name is Nazar Sayed, and this is an episode about anger, confusion, frustration, and just straight up rage. Today, we're going to be talking about the Pakistan versus India 2024 T20 World Cup first round game and how we feel about it. With me, as always, is my brother and co host, Bashar Sayed.
Why did you make me stream that match live?
Was it? Okay. In my defense, the first 90 minutes were probably the best time I've had streaming ever. Agree or disagree?
It was fun. I think we both lost our voices screaming on the stream.
Yeah, I'm still raspy.
And then I think just to make matters worse, after losing to USA, after losing to India, our club lost the match, which was scheduled right after Pakistan's match against
Our
India.
cricket club. So the cricket club that we play for had a match 2 hours after the game ended with India, and we lost on the last ball of the innings where there was 1 for 1 needed, and our death bowler, who was actually a spinner, very Muhammad Nawaz of him, he beat the ball. Like, he was a tailender playing on the other end, and he darted one in, and the tailender swung and he missed, but it was down the leg side and it was a wide. The game was over. So a little bit of context on why we might be sounding a little bit more somber than we actually might be.
6 hours of streaming, 25-hour match, and then you're coming home and recording this.
So
after all that's happened.
It is 1:04 a.m. right now on June 10th, Monday morning. Bashar has work in the morning, and we decided to come and sit. And just because our emotions are so raw and unhinged and just completely free flowing through us, that we thought that we might not be able to capture what we're feeling accurately by tomorrow afternoon. So as we stand here right now, I think this laptop and Bashar's laptop is just for prop purposes at this point because we have no notes. We're shooting straight from the hip, and we're just gonna go and vibe, trying to sort of go through the therapy process in real time. I know a lot of people watch our podcast, and a lot of people listen to us, and they say that we are the PCT therapy for them. And honestly, I truly appreciate that. I think that's one of the best parts of doing this podcast. I never thought that we'd be the voice of reason, the voice of concern for so many people. So many people are tuned into our live stream. At one point, there were 500 people tuning in, and that's just insane. That's a lot. That's a big number. That's 500 real people that chose to listen to us as opposed to listening to Rambo. So I just feel honored, honestly, to share that space with everybody. We all went through that together, and it was just near the end. You could clearly see that the flooding of the people, the real ones, had left and the trolls had entered. And before things got out of hand, Bashar and I ended the stream. I think if you have the gall to go back and watch that live stream, there are moments of really emphatic brilliance there. I think you and I, Bashar, had a moment where we could not believe what we were seeing. There was a moment where Pakistan had India 2 balls and 2 wickets twice. Once in Amir's over and once in Haris Rauf's over. And just that jubilation, I will cherish that forever. What I felt in those first 20 to 30 overs, I would say, um, I cannot put to words because they did already put to stream. And I would love for people to check that out. And I would love for people to check out our utter horror and dismay as well, if you guys have the courage to do that. I don't. I don't think I'll ever look at that stream ever again. It will remain on YouTube forever, as far as the internet is concerned, and we'll go. We'll move on. And like the song says, stop crying your heart out. But just try not to worry. You'll see them someday. And yeah, I don't know where to start, Bashar. The floor is yours.
Canadian rapper Drake bet his money on India winning the match. He posted a story on his Instagram saying that he had bet close to $650,000, and his return on India winning was around about $900,000. So Drake's a very happy man now. He also betted on the KKR in the IPL final. He won that as well. So it seems like Drake is on a roll, and maybe for our next match preview, we should probably talk about that.
Talk about Drake. They say that there was something about a Drake curse as well. I don't know. I guess that just works for if you're the Toronto Raptors. No, it doesn't really work for the Pakistan cricket team. And you can just pull it out. Honestly, the lights is bugging. Sorry, the lights malfunctioning. Everything is falling apart in the studio today. The fact that we even managed to pull up today, Bashar, I think is nothing short of a miracle. How do you feel today?
I think after the last game against the USA, I was sad. I was depressed. I had my sad playlist out. But I think after this match, I am furious. I am livid. I didn't know how to process that match, like the last, I would say, 5 to 7 overs that happened. For a minute, I felt like I was in a matrix. I was in a simulation. There's going to be a point where somebody wakes me up, and this was all just a bad dream. But as time progressed, I realized that I am in fact living this moment in reality, and Pakistan just pulled off the biggest bottle job in their cricket history. We've seen some crazy things happen in Pakistan cricket history. We've been following it for the past 15 to 20 years at this point, and there's been generations before us who have watched cricket for Pakistan. But I think not many moments of choking, of cracking under pressure, can overtake what happened in the game against India.
Yeah, I just don't understand. Like, I was there. I saw the whole game and I witnessed it all. But I still don't understand how that happened. I don't know. At one point, Pakistan needed 47 off 47 with 8 wickets in hand, man. 47 off 47 with 8 wickets in hand?
Towards the end of the Pakistan USA review match podcast, you said that Pakistan is still in this World Cup. You said all Pakistan needs is the next match. You win the toss, you bowl first, you get India out for 120, 100, you chase it down, and you're back in the World Cup. And I told you, like, for all those things to align and sync together, it's going to be tough. Like for Babar to win the toss, to bowl first, to get India out, get massive wickets like Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma up front. Lo and behold, all of that happened. Babar won the toss. He bowled first. We got wickets from Shaheen getting Rohit out again. We got Naseem Shah finally getting the wicket of Virat Kohli. I remember in the Islamabad United podcast where we hosted Naseem Shah, there was a question I asked, and I had done lots of research to find this out, that he had gotten Joe Root out, he had gotten Kane Williamson out, he had gotten Steve Smith out, and he had Virat Kohli dropped by Fakhar Zaman in the Asia Cup. And so I asked him, like, you bowled to Virat Kohli, you've almost gotten all the Fab Four batsmen out. And he was disappointed not to get Virat Kohli out, but I think today he has completed that list of the Fab Four. Now I keep repeating the term Fab Four because there is in fact a Fab Four. There is not a Fab Five, amongst which Babar Azam is. And we'll get into that whole thing later in the podcast. But just, I would say, a pretty great bowling effort for Pakistan. They bowled good lines. There was good captaincy from Babar Azam. There was good bowling changes. A couple of bowling changes I didn't really understand. Like Naseem Shah took a wicket of Virat Kohli in his first over, and then he was taken out of the attack. That didn't make sense. The one surprising thing was that despite India losing 2 wickets of Virat and Rohit, Rishabh Pant just kept attacking. They promoted Akshar Patel up the order, and I think the idea was to just maximize the power play. Now, these are terms: maximize the power play. It is not understood by batters like Babar and Rizwan. India's score in the power play was 50 for 2. And if you compare that to Pakistan's, I think Pakistan was like 35 for 1. So India is already 15 runs ahead. They know the pitch is tricky. They know once the field opens up, it's going to be harder to score boundaries. So they kept attacking Pakistan. And eventually, Pakistan did come back into the match. I think 9 wickets were taken by Pacers, 1 run out. Lots of questions on people's roles in the team, on who's clutch, who's not clutch, who are just PSL performers. I think we should just get into it.
I don't think there's lots of questions on who's clutch and who's not clutch anymore. At this point, it's very clear. This game was a clarification if there was any, if people had any doubts on who is clutch and who is not for Pakistan. I think that whole debate has been rested for sure. The sad part of this whole scenario is that the reality is in front of us. It cannot be ignored. Babar Azam is not clutch. Babar Azam is not Kobe. He's not Jordan. He's not Kohli. He's not Rohit Sharma. He's not Sachin. He's none of them. He's just Babar Azam.
He's not even in Zamam ul Haq.
He's not.
He's not even a Yunus Khan.
No.
He is at best above average. And I'm going to say this up front. I don't care how much backlash this gets. Babar Azam is not on the Fab 5 of the top batsmen.
There is no Fab 5 anymore.
At best, Babar Azam is in the same league as Gurbaz, as KL Rahul, as Aiden Markram. Maybe some would say they have more match-winning knocks. Babar Azam has been playing cricket for Pakistan the past 9 years, 290 international matches, and I think you can count his match-winning knocks on one hand. And that says a lot about who Babar Azam is as a batsman, about who he is as a match winner, who he is as a clutch player. He is definitely not a clutch player. He is not a match winner. And I think when it comes to World Cups, when it comes to multi-nation tournaments, he is definitely not showing up for Pakistan. And like I don't give a crap about Babar Azam's runs like in bilaterals. Like what am I gonna do about Babar Azam's 4,000 runs? How many of those are in winning causes? How many of those are in World Cups? How many of those are against India? What kind of legacy is Babar Azam building here?
No, these are extremely valid claims because the performance that he had, he just at this stage of the game, in this game that we just witnessed, he just had to be himself. There was no added pressure of trying to be somebody else or attacking a certain way. He just had to play the way he naturally plays, and he looked good. He looked like he was going to seal the deal. It would have been a redemption arc, like I said in the previous podcast. If Pakistan wants to find their way out, this has to work out. And it was working out. And he pulls Bumrah for 4 and a very similar delivery, maybe a little bit shorter, and he dabs it to first slip. This guy, the king, him, and
Bobsy?
like I was, and we were on the live stream when that happened, and I said, I think the dog in him is coming back. I think he's pulling Bumrah. Bumrah is the toughest one to face in that pitch on that surface, and he pulls him before, and I'm like, this is it. I think he's pulling it back, and just dabs it. Same, very similar to the way he got out in the against India in the Cricket World Cup in 2023. Honestly, it's been a shame. The talent that this man has, the pedigree that this man has, everybody rallies around Babar Azam. We rallied around Babar Azam for so long. His captaincy, a lot of things were ignored just because of the legacy of Babar Azam. We wanted him to succeed so bad because his succession meant our succession. Him being successful meant that we were successful, and that was just sort of the parasocial relationship that we found us in, and he has let us down time and time and time and time again. Time and time again. People are saying that 152 for 0 came back and bit us in the butt. Because maybe we overinflated what that meant. We hadn't beaten India ever in a World Cup. This included players and captains like Imran Khan, Shahid Afridi, Misbah, Yunus Khan. None of them were able to do that. And Babar comes out and we placed him, you and I, we did this on this podcast. This is us, like we're guilty of this. We placed him on such a high pedestal where even we who put him up there, it was hard for us to reach him again. And this, like, I don't even know where to start. Where does this start when Babar was leading Pakistan in the 2022 World Cup? Does it start from the 23 World Cup? Does it start when he left captaincy, or when Shaheen got it, or when Shaheen was like rid of the captaincy? It was taken away from him, and Babar Azam took it back. Does it start from there? Does it start from this? Like, I don't even know where the germ of this idea, the germ of this whole debacle begins from. All I know is that it's been too long. It's been too long. This man, even though he is the top T20 run scorer for Pakistan
in the world.
It's over. He's not a T20 player.
Babar's strike rate in T20 World Cups is 113. Babar's strike rate in power plays of T20 World Cups is 89. Please fact check me on this. And Babar Azam has no sixes in the power play of T20 World Cups. That just shows Babar's intent. It shows how confident he is in the first 6 overs. It shows how behind Pakistan is in the power play and T20 World Cups. We're talking about India being 50 for 2, losing 2 wickets, but still scoring 50, in Pakistan losing 1 wicket, but getting bogged down for 35. And I don't know what's worse. Was Babar Azam flopping worse, or was the fact that there was nobody in the middle order who could come in, consolidate, take responsibility?
Yeah, that's the irony of the whole situation, ain't it? That we're blaming Babar for so much right now, even though the first half of the game, his captaincy
was good. Inspiring bowling changes.
First time ever, I would say this.
Great field placement. That Rohit Sharma wicket, as much as it is Shaheen's, it is also Babar's, because he placed that fielder towards deep square leg. Haris Rauf took that catch, and Shaheen's bravery to pitch it up despite being hit for a 6 in that same area around the same delivery.
So that's what I'm saying. There were flashes of brilliance, genuinely, in this game from Pakistan. The first half, I would say Pakistan was dominating.
But I think,
and it's from that point when you have, quote unquote, the king coming in, and he takes this is what he did. He took his crown off on the pitch. He left it there and let it go.
When Pakistan was chasing 120, everybody said this is the perfect total for Rizbar. I am not a Rizbar fan. I think regardless of what Saim Ayub does, Babar Rizwan should not be opening. Babar Azam should be playing one down. Rizwan, there's going to be a whole debate on his position as an opener, but there could never be a better opportunity for Rizwan and Babar to play the way that they play. Run a ball, hit those boundaries, take singles and doubles, rotate the strike. Once again, they flopped. I want to take you back to the podcast we did when Babar Azam took back the captaincy.
Mm-hmm.
And the cold open to that podcast was a quote that you mentioned from The Dark Knight. That quote was, "You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain." And I think when Babar left the captaincy after the ODI World Cup, he was still a hero within the
He died
Pakistan.
a hero. His captaincy died, even though it was not the way that he wanted to let go, and that was not the results that he wanted to put forth in his legacy as a captain. I think it was a noble way to go.
There was a lot of sympathies from people with Babar after how Zaka Ashraf treated him, after how his chats were leaked, after how Pakistan played in the ODI World Cup. They came pretty close. There was a few washouts. But people were on Babar Azam's side. They said, okay, captaincy is behind him. We want to see Babar Azam, the batsman, score thousands of runs for Pakistan now. This whole debacle with him taking the captaincy back, we were against it from day one. We thought Babar had nothing new to offer, and this World Cup has shown his captaincy is not evolved. His batting as a captain in World Cups has not evolved, and there's more questions than answers that have been left after the first 2 matches of Pakistan in this World Cup.
Yes, so let's take a little bit of a macroscopic lens and look at this Pakistan team from January 2024 to now June 10th, 2024. In January, Shaheen Shah was your new captain of your T20 side. He was leading Pakistan into New Zealand. and they were playing 4 T20Is there, which they lost. 5-20. Yeah, one of them was washed out, I believe.
They lost 4-1.
That was 4-1.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do I remember 4-0? But that's okay. Yeah, so he was your new captain, and he lost 4 of the 5 games that he was playing, but that's fine. He's learning on the job. He's trying to figure it out. This is the way that the Pakistan Cricket Board decided to handle the situation. Hey, Shaheen, we're going to take the captaincy back from you, and we're going to give it to so they give it to the biggest star in the team again. So Shaheen allegedly, or could be the second biggest star in Pakistan cricket team, third being Naseem, first is obviously Babar Azam. Now, what you do immediately is you create friction between the two most important people in your team, the guy who leads the bowling attack and the guy who leads the batting attack. He opens in Pakistan and Shaheen opens the bowling for Pakistan. So these two are very vital for each other. They might be the opposite end of the spectrum, but they complement each other. One cannot coexist without the other.
Batman and Joker.
Literally, if you want. Like, I'm not even going to, it's like Batman and Superman. Honestly, it's not even Joker because they're both that important. And they pit them against each other. The board pit one entity against the other entity. And, people are like, oh, there's everybody on TV, like if you go from Galman Akmal to Ahmed Shahzad to everybody, whoever has a platform right now is saying, hey, there's like grouping and people don't like each other within the team. And, there's always a grain of salt to that. But I'm here to tell everybody that that's the truth. That is the truth.
I think the problem is actually much more deep rooted, and this is actually well planned, orchestrated by the PCB and Zaka Ashraf. So basically, if you remember Pakistan post Asia Cup last year and the ODI World Cup, the news was that Pakistani players have not been paid. They're negotiating new contracts. They want shares of the ICC revenue. They want higher match fees. They want better salaries. And that can only happen when all a team is on the same page. When the guys are united, they're fighting for one cause. That team under Babar Azam was the wholesome 11. It was a united team. It was a team gelled under Babar's leadership. Once Zaka Ashraf takes the captaincy from Babar, gives it to Shaheen, there's automatic rifts in the team. And then, to make matters worse, the captaincy goes from Shaheen over to Babar again. So it just leaves a extremely bitter taste in everyone's mouth. There's groups, there's sides people are taking. People saying Babar shouldn't have taken captaincy back.
We said this.
Shaheen feeling he was handled poorly. There was statements that were released by PCB that were not his. And I think this is the perfect plan to create rifts, create groups, internal team politics.
So that a situation like that can never occur again.
Exactly.
So players can never be as powerful or more powerful than the board, where they come out and negotiate contracts with themselves so that they can get paid better.
Usman Samyuddin has mentioned a few times in his tweets that Pakistan should ideally have a players' union.
100%.
Australia has one.
100%.
But that can only happen when your players are united and they back each other, they trust each other. It can never happen when they're backstabbing each other and there's a lack of trust, there's insecurities.
Plotting, grouping, politics, bad-mouthing, backbiting.
My counter to that is that the Pakistan team of the 90s is arguably one of the most toxic teams of all time. But despite all that, they would put their differences aside. They would leave things in the dressing room and ultimately go out in the ground and fight for Pakistan. Wasim hated Waqar. Waqar hated Wasim all throughout their entire careers. But ultimately, their hate it contributed positively for Pakistan because they took wickets. They had competition within each other. There were groups. There were people who wanted Wasim to be captain. Some wanted Waqar to be captain. There was a whole spot fixing, match fixing saga amidst that whole chaos. But despite that, Pakistan would still go out there and beat some of the biggest teams. They would be united on the field, regardless of what was going on off the field in the dressing room.
Yeah, I think the answer to that is that conundrum is that maybe nobody was financially motivated at the time. People just weren't making the kind of money that these guys are. Like Babar Rizwan and Shaheen make what, 60 lakhs a year? 6 lakhs a month? What is that, $30,000?
plus match fees, plus travel allowance, plus
D&D,
daily allowance, plus contracts from Grey Nichols,
plus advertisement money, plus
endorsements.
endorsements. Now they got a cut from the ICC. Now, this I've always feel like whenever we are dissecting the players' money, it's always what I've seen at least is always done in poor taste, which is like, hey, look how much money these guys are making. Your dad can't even make that in his entire life. Like, that's not the conversation we're trying to have here. We sort of have a bit more of a nuanced approach where we know that world class players make 10x that. If if cricket was as big as it is in Pakistan, in Canada, Canadian players would make 10x that. That's completely normal. They should get paid what they should get paid. That's not what my fear or subject to resentment comes from. More so, it comes from just the fact that the motivation seems to be how to get more money versus how to get Pakistan more W's. And that is, I think, the biggest difference between the 90s Pakistan team and the 20s Pakistan team. I think in the 90s, even though there were rifts and people didn't like each other, and maybe there was friendly competition, or maybe there was just, jealousy that turned into friendly competition, whatever they were motivated by was if Pakistan wins at the end, all of this is dusted. But the opposite is happening here. Pakistan is not winning. And we have heard off record from people that there were words said between Babar and Shaheen before, and maybe Shaheen didn't like the way that Babar was treating everybody. Maybe Babar didn't like Shaheen's tone, so on and so forth. This has been going on for a while. If you just keep an ear out for the rumors that you've been hearing for the past 12 months between Shaheen and Babar, they don't get along as they should, right?
There can always be stuff done for optics, taking pictures with Shaheen and Rizwan and Babar on a rock and posting it as a story on Instagram. Like, that's not going to do any damage control. People already know what's going on.
What is the most upsetting part of this whole situation is that the PCB entity had a plan to divide these players up, be it for their own financial gain, so they may never rise up again and sort of take more out of their pie or whatever, because everybody's greedy. It's the fact that these players let it happen. It's the fact that Babar came out and accepted captaincy again. It's the fact that he let whatever rift was between Shaheen and himself just grow. And to put matters worse, Shaheen brought back Imad and Amir. These two people 6 months ago were talking absolute shit about Babar. And now they're playing under him. So what dynamic is this? What even is happening inside the Pakistan cricket team, where you have a camp that's pro Babar, camp that's pro Shaheen, and then you got Heckle and Jekyll, Imad Wasim and Mohammad Amir in there. And then you kind of have a little bit of a sad Islamabad United group going on with Maddie, Azam, and Shadab in there, where they're just like being sad and not performing together. That's like 4 to 5 fractions in a 15-man group in there.
And then you add senior team manager Wahab Riaz in there.
Why is he there?
What is Wahab Riaz's role in this team? I would love to know. It is a self-created role by Wahab as a senior team manager. This role does not exist in any other team. You might see a team manager, you might see an assistant team manager, but a senior team manager that is sitting in the dugout, that is in team huddles. This guy a few months ago was wearing boots. He was walking across the Lahore in Punjab in rainy areas where there's puddles, and he was a sports minister. This is a political hiring for him to be brought back as a selector, as a senior team manager. Mind you, Wahab Riaz was also trying to bring back Salman Butt as a selector. Salman Butt, who is a convicted match fixer, spot fixer. He was the captain of the Pakistan team when it all happened. And for him to even be brought close to the PCB is a disgrace. And
sir, may I remind you just something very quickly before you go on that tirade? When Salman Butt was convicted, there were photos of him, talking to Mazhar Majid and all that. There was an extremely viral photo that somehow everybody's forgotten
it's
about.
a video.
It's a video of Mazhar Majid giving Wahab Riaz his white blazer, which a lot of people assumed or was rumored at least that was lined with money. So let's say, okay, maybe let's give Wahab the benefit of the doubt that that's not the case, right? When Jeffrey Epstein got caught and the people were like released the lists, and people like Bill Gates and big Hollywood actors were, and Bill Clinton, all these guys were getting pestered, it wasn't because they were maybe involved with Epstein. It was because they were seen with him. They know this guy's bad. So if Wahab Riaz is seen exchanging jackets with the guy who is quote unquote bad, the worst thing for Pakistan cricket, why are we even putting him anywhere near the Pakistan team? That's why I had a very lukewarm response to Wahab Riaz's entire cricket career. Like, yeah, he took 5 wickets against India in the semi-final. Who gives a shit?
We lost the match.
We lost the match. He took 5. He took 3 in the last 3 overs after the damage was done. So, like, I don't have any sympathy for Wahab Riaz. I actually, I have a visceral reaction whenever I see him.
I think you remember that ball he bowled to Steve Smith in the World T20? There's a picture. It says baller with brain, and it's the ball that's ball at the stumps where Steve Smith goes across. And it says baller without brain, it's Wahab Riaz bowling to Steve Smith on his pads.
Yep. It's from all of that. Like, it all culminates, and this guy is a senior manager of the Pakistan cricket team, not just the manager, the senior manager. And Usman Khan, we talked about him before, raised a good point on one of his tweets. Like, what is his role? If he's the chief selector, 1/7, then why is he with the team again? Like, what's going on? Like, I don't even know. Like, we haven't even talked properly about this game because there's so much baggage and context to how we got here that could be a 4-part podcast series from us.
I wanted to talk about we talked about Babar, we talked about how he flopped, we talked about just the context of why that's important. The next guy who flopped in was Usman Khan, and this is very concerning, right? Usman Khan was the PSL's second highest run scorer, 200s, 250s, strike rate of 170. And when he comes to bat here against India, he is struggling to make contact with bat on ball. I swear to God, I can bat better than Usman Khan after looking at Usman Khan bat today against India. Like, he looked like a tailender who was misplaced, who does not belong to be Pakistan's number 3 batsman. There was a moment where he was trying to, I think, hit a bowler for a single towards offside. He missed the ball by a mile, but he was like halfway through almost running as if he had already made contact. That's what we used to do in gully cricket in Karachi. Just tap and run. The fact is that that was gully cricket, and this is international cricket. Pakistan versus India. And you've got a player that can't play short stuff, that struggles against pace, that got out to Akshar Patel, who is, I would say, a non-regular bowler. Akshar Patel is a batting all-rounder. So, and you give your wicket away, which is a very Azam Khan-esque dismissal. Like, he wasn't forward, he wasn't back, he just got stuck in the crease. Got lucky that it wasn't given on field, but just it was so plumb that India reviewed it and it was out.
It's kind of embarrassing that wasn't given on field.
So the question is, like, it just seems like he has no technique. There's no basics right. And that's because he does not play domestic cricket in Pakistan. He was demoted to the second 11 of Sindh team. And then he eventually left Pakistan's domestic circuit and Pakistan altogether to go to the UAE. And it shows. It shows that this guy has just been playing leagues or been playing club cricket in the UAE and does not have the technique or the basics to play world-class bowlers in high-pressure situations.
Very, very true. I echo everything you say. I was never a fan of this selection. I think I told you this when the 15 was announced. I was never a fan of his inclusion into the Pakistan team. I think his caliber and his success was in the UAE team. I think he would have been a great asset there. I think he would have done good for them there, just like Ali Khan did for the USA, just like Nintaroglu did for the USA, just like Monang Patel did for the USA. I think these types of players are better suited in that type of system. Now,
here's a problem though. Yeah. Year over year, Usman Khan finishes up in the top 3, top 4 run scorers from the PSL. What is the PSL?
So this is...
I feel like the PSL is extremely misleading.
It's a scam.
Extremely misleading.
The PSL is a scam. I'll say it right now. I don't mind saying it, even though we were at the PSL. It's a scam if you think that that's meritocracy there happening there.
Flat
It's a
pitches in
league.
Rawalpindi, short boundaries. You don't have the highest quality of international players coming in. Most players now prefer to play the ILT20, the SA20, even the BPL. Andre Russell, Sunil Narayan preferred the BPL over playing the PSL. So ultimately, you have leftover international players who are not picked in any of the three leagues going on at the same time. They come to Pakistan. All these Pakistan champion batsmen smash them, and they finish up in the top 5 run scorers. And ultimately, when they come to international cricket, they face quality bowlers. They have no response. In the Pakistani nation, we're blinded thinking that PSL is the standards to pick players for internationals. I don't think that's right. You look at Azam Khan, you look at Usman Khan, you look at Iftikhar Ahmed, all of these guys are kings of the PSL, but come international, they are huge flops.
We'll talk about Iftikhar in a little bit, but I totally agree with you when it comes to that. You know how rigorous and testing the Pakistan domestic circuit is? If you go through that 1 year, you're in the sun being baked hours a day. You're playing 4-day cricket in dead wickets, trying to get people out. You know, one team will bat for like a day and a half, score 400. The other team will bat for a day and a half, score 400. Sometimes you never get results. They just go for draws. But that's where the repetition occurs. That's where you put in the hard yards. That's when people come out of that system, they're stoned. Like they're so they're not stoned. They're stone hard is what I meant. That's what I mean. It's 1:40 a.m. in the morning and my brain is frying, but I'm trying to get through this. What I'm trying to say is when they come out of that system, they're completely ready to go. Right? They're in the best form that they can be. They're tested in the hardest of situations. And then when situations like these occur, that's why they find success. Misbah ul Haq led a Pakistan team with Abdur Rahman and Zulfikar Babar and a recently released Muhammad Amir in England and won a test match at Lords with that lot. He won so many test matches in Dubai with that lot. That was because these guys were veterans in the domestic circuit. Yeah, that's why maybe some of them were the 34, 35, 38. But because they had that many repetitions in, when they came into the higher international leagues, and trust me, that platform, the international platform, has immense pressure. And you can only handle it if you come through a system that really puts you through the rigmaroles. And it's very evident that these guys are not cut for it.
It's sort of like, this is a perfect example. If you go through 4 years of university, you've seen so much adversity, you've seen so many challenges, so many setbacks, you know how to make comebacks. But I feel like players who come off of just one good PSL, two good PSL, it's like doing a certification off Udemy.
Very well done.
You can't replace a 4-year degree with an online course on Udemy for Python.
Yeah.
And I think this is exactly what the PSL is doing.
The way that Usman Khan was just sort of fishing for his life out there, it was really tough to watch. That's probably where I started to see the red flags coming in, especially when Rizwan was not helping out from the other end. He wasn't really capitalizing. He wasn't taking the charge. And when Mohammad Rizwan decided to take the charge, it was against Jasprit Bumrah. Now let's talk about Mohammad Rizwan, Bashar. What did he do in this match today?
Rizwan today, in Pakistan's inning, he scored 31 runs off 44 balls. That included 1-4, 1-6. So essentially, if you look at it, he scored about 21 runs off 42 deliveries, which, I mean, if you take his 4 and his 6 out,
14 dots, I think, in the innings too.
Lots of dots, and just an innings that really did not go anywhere. There were some glimpses of intent. He took some risks, but I think the turning point and one of the biggest culprits of this match is indeed Mohammad Rizwan. In the 15th over, Rohit Sharma brings on Jasprit Bumrah. And everybody knows, I'm on the couch live streaming, you can hear me, and I say, Rohit has brought Bumrah because he wants a wicket here. This game will likely not go till the last over unless India takes wickets. And what does Rizwan do? Rizwan tries to play a cross bat, lap shot, heave, I don't even know what to call that. And he gets bowled on a pitch where the ball is doing a lot. Some balls are staying low, some are kicking off. The best way to play is with a straight bat within the V. Rizwan, in a critical moment of the match, goes cross bat, gets bowled, and that was one of the most turning points of this entire match.
Before that, Pakistan in 14 overs were 80 for 3, and they needed, 30? 30 odd runs? Yeah, 40 runs in about 48. Yeah. They needed 40 runs from 42 deliveries at that point. And they couldn't make it.
As the stream went through, I just kept saying, like, this is going to take a massive bottle drop from Pakistan to lose the match from here.
Because
But
Pakistan,
at the same time, I never felt fully comfortable throughout the whole chase because I knew a wicket here, a wicket there, dot balls here, dot balls there, and this game could turn on its head anytime.
So these are the amounts of dot balls that every bowler bowled. Ready, Bashar? In the Indian line, Arshdeep bowled 11 dots. Mohammad Siraj bowled 11 dots. Jasprit Bumrah bowled 15 dots. Pandya bowled 11 dots. Ravindra Jadeja bowled 5, and Akshar Patel bowled 6. So if you add those together, those two together, they bowled 11 together.
I think I actually did some math before the podcast, and I was just checking. So I think India played about 63 dots from Pakistan, and Pakistan played about 50 odd. So the difference actually was not the dot balls. The difference was the boundaries. India hit 13 fours and 2 sixes. Pakistan hit 8 fours and 2 sixes. That includes the 2 boundaries from Naseem Shah in the last over. So I think just a lack of intent. I really feel like Pakistan lost that match in the power play. Had they gotten had shown more intent in the power play, had they been like 50 runs, 55 runs
For two
wickets, like India was, it could have just made the game one-sided in the first power play. But again, Rizbar, they like to play the power play as they do. I think their average power play score is around, 40, 42.
I would have taken that too, honestly.
Yeah, like I said, on this pitch, these were like perfect conditions for Rizbar. But Rizwan, with the experience he has, with the matches he's played, he had to finish this match with Pakistan. And I think we also need to talk about how Rizwan, the opener, he's an opener. He plays the new ball, but he does not have the technique to face the new ball. He got squared up the last match by Netravalkar. Today, he was squared up by Siraj multiple times. It just seems like he cannot play the moving ball. At the same time, he only wants to open. It's very funny. Both Babar and Rizwan, if you ask any one of them to play one down, they will go to the media and they will show how they're unhappy, how they're doing a massive favor on Pakistan. This is a team game. Mohammad Hafiz said that he understood when he came in for coaching that Babar and Rizwan are not the full Pakistan team. You want to win tournaments, you want to win series, you have to win with whole team contribution from all 11 guys. But I think Babar and Rizwan feel like they're just these two guys are just the Pakistan team, and they've designed the whole Pakistan batting order the past 3-4 years in such a way where Babar and Rizwan go, they play 12 overs, 15 overs, they hog up balls, run rate of 7, maybe 8, and then number 3, 4, 5, 6 is just hitters. And when you have hitters, they play high risk cricket. How can you develop middle order batsmen when that's the style of play that they have to play? The situation is such where Azam Khan goes in, Iftikhar goes in, and they have to go from ball 1 because the required run rate is 10, 10, 11, 12.
Speaking of middle order batsmen, we should talk about Imad Wasim in this game. 23 balls, 15 runs. He was on the pitch for 40 minutes, 1-4, and that 2 off a top edge.
Off an edge. Totally unconvincing innings. And we thought because he played innings for Islamabad United in the PSL that he would again play the same innings here, take the game deep and finish it off. But again, this is not the PSL. This is the real deal. This is a World Cup. And what's shocking is Mohammad Amir and Imad Wasim were on TV last year during the ODI World Cup, and they were blasting the Pakistan team. They were blasting Babar's captaincy, the team performance. And if you look at it, actually, these two guys have an incredible part to play in Pakistan's last 2 defeats. Mohammad Amir balls one of the worst super overs I've ever seen. 3 wides, wides go for runs, and goes hit for a boundary. Super over goes for 18. Pakistan can't chase it, they lose the match. In this match, Imad Wasim plays so many dot balls. The run rate keeps climbing, And I even have serious doubts on whether Imad Wasim was even fit to begin with. He was struggling with the side strain. And the news around was that Mehran Mumtaz was being prepared in Pakistan to go to the US, that Imad Wasim was being pushed to play through an injury. And we could see that by the way he was running in between the wickets. He just seemed like he was lethargic. He was tired, just did not want to put any effort.
The hardest part of this entire game uh, was watching Imad bat and watching Imad run. I think Shadab made him run a 2 really, really hard. And after that, he took 2 balls just to be normal again, like just to catch his breath. And so, number one toughest thing was Imad Wasim. Number 2 was Usman Khan's batting. I think those two go hand in hand. And one of the weirdest things that I've ever seen Pakistan cricket do. It was just a no-show innings from Imad Wasim. I don't think moving him up the order over Shadab and Iftikhar was the right move. I think um, the clutch factor that Imad has for Islamabad, I think that's what sort of bumped him up the order. Or maybe because Fakhr was just out and they wanted to keep the right-left combination. I see intent in that decision. The execution, Imad Wasim just shat the pants. Chat the pitch.
There was just one over where he played against Akshar Patel. Again,
Oh my God.
a non-regular bowler. He is a batting all-rounder. And just kept playing dot balls. Similar dot. It was a cut shot. Trying to cut at every single ball.
He did the same thing with, I think, Pandya or Bumrah as well. He did the same thing with them. Twice he did this. And he just could not get it off the bat. He was so lazy. The ball was flying past him. Some were staying low, some were staying high. And he just didn't know what to do. And it was a nothing innings from him. A nothing innings. The majority of the reason that Pakistan ended up where they ended up was because of the 15 on off 23. And like we lost by 6 runs. If that was even 100 strike rate, which it should have been, Pakistan won. 2 balls to spare.
Speaking of middle order and flops, we have to talk about Iftikhar Ahmed. We've been talking about it in the past few podcasts, but I think there's been no bigger
red flag
than this game here. This man is in the team as a finisher, and he is getting out on full tosses. Last match in the Super Over against USA, he is unable to put full tosses away this match. He is missing free hits. He's playing them dot balls and just not looking anywhere near a finisher. If anything, he has just finished his own career.
I think this is the end of Iftikhar Ahmed. What do you think?
What I think about Iftikhar Ahmed, he has played 98 matches for Pakistan. He has played 4 multi-nation tournaments. And perhaps his biggest achievement so far is his century against Nepal.
And the 6 sixes against Babar Azam.
Seriously. That's his major accomplishment. He has 2 Man of the Match awards. And believe it or not, that's because of his bowling. He took a 5-4 against Zimbabwe. And then recently he took like 3-4 wickets against New Zealand, the one match we won on that tour. He has not had any impactful innings that have won him a Man of the Match awards in his entire career.
Who had the Man of the Match in that Nepal game? Oh, Babar did, because he had 156 or something.
Iftikhar Ahmed averages 19, strike rate of 118 in T20 World Cups for Pakistan. And these are stats of a finisher.
What are you going to say? 9 balls, 5 runs. He was on the pitch for 14 minutes, and he had no impact. The last 3 people, Imad, Shadab, and Iftikhar, before Shaheen and Naseem came out to bat, their strike rates are 65, 57, and 55 respectively.
Yeah, I mean, there's no better segue to talk about Shadab Khan. What is his role in this team? He is non-bowling. Babar Azam does not trust him to bowl overs in a World Cup match. His batting is inconsistent. Is he playing just as a fielder? Like, what's going on with Shady?
I think the whole situation, right, is extremely tragic. This is the biggest tragedy, in my opinion. From who Shadab Khan was in that Champions Trophy in 2017, from his first over bowling to Yuvraj Singh, getting him plumb out, to now, that whole arc of him peaking in 21, 22, that guy who, like, you could get 4 overs, he'd probably get hit for 28, 30, but he'd give you 2 or 3 good wickets. From that guy to did not even bowling a single over against India.
That shouts that, Shadab, I don't trust you. That speaks volumes of how and where Shadab Khan, the baller, is right now. Like Babar had to sneak in overs from him against the game in the USA. And even towards the end, he got smashed by Aaron Jones for a six, which just pivoted the game again towards the USA. And I've never seen Shadab so low on confidence with his bowling.
It's so low on his body language.
I've never seen him so low and inconsistent with the bat. A 40 last game, but a 4 off 7 in this match. He's not bowling this match. He's fielding at point, and he is coming into bat at number 6. So there's massive, massive question marks as to what Shadab Khan's role is in this team. He was picked ahead of Usman Amir. Usman Amir was the highest wicket taker in the PSL, a pretty regular performer in the domestic circuit as well. Was left out because Pakistan backed Shadab Khan, and he's not bowling. He's batting, isn't really showing up in every other game. I'm doubting what his role in the team is now and going forward.
We have to talk about Naseem Shah. We have to round this up, bro. It's almost an hour.
Naseem is a perfect mirror to what Pakistan's middle order should have been. He is
fearless.
He's fearless. He makes wearing the green shirt what it is. His tears towards the end of the match, I think he really encapsulated how the Pakistani nation felt after the last 2 losses. And it made things so much worse for players like Usman Khan, Iftikhar, Imad, and Shadab, and Iftikhar with the innings that Naseem played. He comes in, scores 10 off 4, hits 2 boundaries, shows bravery, shows intent, shows that he is actually there in the moment, playing for the country, wanting to win. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it just goes that you may take the spirit out of the fighter, but you will never take the fighter and his spirit out of the game. And I think Naseem Shah showed that. I think what came over him near the end of the game and after was just the fact that this guy he's a killer. He wants to take wickets, he wants to take runs, he wants to take W's. That's who he is. That's in his DNA. And if anything, in this horrendous, godforsaken tournament that Pakistan has found itself in, that is my shining light. That is my guiding light. Him, Haris, Shaheen, those 3 are probably the only people that I back at this Pakistan team right now. 11 out of the 15 I want out because it's not worth it. It's not worth it. I would have rather lost with the Shaheen Afridi 11 that was new, that was improving, that would have probably gotten a first round exit. That's fine, you know? And you have to realize Sachin has never won a T20 World Cup.
He hasn't played one.
Why? Robin Uthappa played that World Cup. Sachin didn't play that World Cup in 2007. Why?
So you're saying how India treated the Indian team after the ODI World Cup first round knockout going into the 07 T20 World Cup.
It was a new team. It was MS Dhoni. It was a bunch of lads. Has Sachin won a Champions Trophy?
No.
Why?
Well, because you retired when India won.
Okay, fair enough. But my point is, in 2013, they played with a completely young team and they won it.
So you're saying the Pakistan team going forward needs to turn a fresh page?
No, what I'm saying is that every team has a rebuilding process, right? You blow the team up, you take the pieces that were working, you keep them, and you build around. So the Toronto Raptors just blew the whole team up, right? The 2019 championship winning team, none of that roster is now in this 2024 team. Yeah, they didn't make it to the playoffs. That's fine. They're building around a couple of pieces that they have that they're really proud of, Scotty Barnes and co. And they're gonna wait until these guys are mature and scoring, and then they're gonna get a few more big pieces, and then they're gonna try and win the chip. That's the circle of every franchise, every team ever, right? Very rarely do you see teams dominate for as long as they did, right? That's why when anomalies like Jordan or Kobe happen, we celebrate them. When LeBron and Steph Curry happen, we celebrate them. When the Australia's from the 99 and 2007 happen, we celebrate them. From India from 2011 to 2018 happens, we celebrate them.
I think for me, part of that revamp has to start off with when Pakistan comes back from this World Cup, and I really do hope they don't make it to Super 8s. I know there's still some math that can happen where Pakistan can make it to Super 8s. If USA loses to Ireland, if India win all their matches, Pakistan may be able to make it. But I just think the way Pakistan has played their first two matches, they do not deserve to be in the Super 8s. The way Pakistan has played their T20 cricket the past 6 months, they've lost 4-1 to New Zealand. They've lost 2-2. Well, they draw a series 2-2 against the New Zealand C team. They lost to Ireland. They were swept by England. They lost to the USA. They bottled the game against India today. There is no scenario where I want to see Pakistan in the Super 8s. I want to see Pakistan knocked out of this World Cup in the group stage. And the first thing I want to see once Pakistan goes back to Pakistan is Babar Azam's resignation. I want Babar to come up, press conference, be like, hey man, took the captaincy because I thought we're going to win the World Cup. We didn't win it. I made blunders. I want to take responsibility. Here's my resignation. I will continue playing as a batsman in the format that I may fit the best. And that's going to take a lot. This is a lot of me to ask for Babar Azam, because to do this, you need to have lots of self-respect,
self-awareness,
accountability, which I think all of these things are lacking from Babar Azam, the individual.
I wouldn't be as harsh as you are. I think I would always want Pakistan to succeed as best as they can. And I say this with 100% the fortitude of what I believe in. Even if Pakistan goes on and wins this World Cup, which is impossible, almost highly unlikely, but in some twist of faith, they make it to the Super 8s, they start sweeping teams, and they win this whole thing, right? If they do that, I would still blow this team up when they go back to Lahore. There is no world, no scenario where the same team plays ever again, ever. If Azam wants to be in the team, you have to work on your fitness. You have to prove that you're a killer. You have to be in the domestic circuit. Rizwan, I'd rather take Mohammad Haris. Babar, I'd rather take Saim. I'd rather take Abdullah Shafiq. Fix middle order combination. Make sure that you have all-rounders in. Work on your circuit. And please, God's sake, give Abrar a game.
Why is this guy there, bro? Why is Abrar in the squad?
He's been traveling with the team for 6 months.
Talk about this team selection, actually. It's a good point you mentioned. 7 people are involved in picking the squad.
And it shows.
I kid you not, bro. This is what happens. They're in a boardroom. Some are on Zoom, some are in person. And they're like, Amr Jamal, hands up if you want to agree. And then there's like, they're outvoted by 3-4. Amr Jamal out. So Amr Jamal is out.
It reminds me, like, I think one of the greatest movies of the past 20 years is Moneyball. The one with Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill, written by Aaron Sorkin, one of my favorite writers. He's the same writer who wrote The Social Network and so on, right? There's a scene in Moneyball, Bashar, I mean, you might remember, where Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill are in the scouts room. Do you remember the scene?
Maybe.
Where I think Brad Pitt is making all the decisions and the scouts are like, hey, we should go for this guy, we should go for this guy, we should go for this guy. And he's like, nope, we're going for number X and Y. And then he points to Jonah Hill. And then, the whole thing with the whole Moneyball concept is unraveled in that moment. And there's a moment where he says, they're here. There's a whole wall of shit. Then we're here. Right? It reminds me of that moment. Except there's no Brad Pitt there. This is not a fairy tale. This is a horror story. The way that you were describing it. A lot of incompetent people surrounding incompetent people.
For a World Cup that's happening in the West Indies and the USA, Pakistan picked 5 fast bowlers.
About 70 will not get a game.
No all-rounders. Pakistan picked 4 openers. Pakistan picked 3 wicketkeepers. This is one of the most horrendous team selections that I've ever seen.
And no middle order batsman.
That is the biggest tragedy of all tragedies, that despite us saying that Azam Khan is not good enough, Iftikhar is a big flop, we have really nobody to fall back on. If you look at the domestic circuit, like there might be names popping up like Salman Ali Agha or Haider Ali. But again, these guys have not been tested. Their performances are in the PSL. We've just said the PSL might not be the biggest litmus test of seeing whether players are good enough or not.
Or their performance are in test matches or ODIs, which is a longer format where they take time to settle in. And that's just the irony of this whole situation, ain't it?
I think this is what's going to happen post World Cup. But Pakistan needs to talk about fitness standards, right? I really liked when Mickey Arthur was there. The players were going through yo-yo tests, bleep tests, as they may call it, and you would understand which players are fit, which are unfit, and there was sort of transparency between the board and the media. Like we knew Imad Wasim did not pass the yo-yo test to be in the 2019 ODI World Cup squad. Inzamam came out and he confessed that. But I think now things have gotten so out of hand that half this team might fail a yo-yo test if it happens. When Misbah came in as coach, he was just checking players' fat levels. He was not weighing them. He was not doing yo-yo tests. But by just checking the fat levels, you could understand what the player is eating, how much is he training, how much junk is he having in a system. And Misbah said that there were some players whose fat levels kept increasing, which is an indication that they're not disciplined in their lifestyle. They don't take cricket seriously, and they're just mere casuals. I think we were watching the show where Imam al-Haq is on TV, and there was a scene. There's one shot where you could just see Imam's stomach coming out.
Tummy. Yeah, his gut is
his
huge.
tummy's coming out,
Yeah.
and he is Pakistan's premier ODI opener. So, like, what has happened in the Pakistan team? Like, where has our fitness standards gone? I think after Azam's recent flop, I don't want to see any players who are unfit. I would rather play players who are incompetent but fit, rather than compromising on fitness just because that guy might win you matches.
Yeah.
And I think post this World Cup, Imad, thank you for coming. Let's take you back to retirement, bro. Go play leagues. Go sit on TV. I'm not sure exactly where Mohamed Amr fits in this whole situation. He might like to retire, go back to playing leagues. The only few players that should likely stay is from our pace bowling attack: Naseem, Shaheen, Haris Rouf. I would love to see Amr Jamal in there. Saim Ayub may get more chances. Babar might stay, but there's massive question marks on everybody else in this team.
I totally agree. I think this was a horrendous performance from Pakistan. This was the first time that Pakistan in a very long time have lost the game to India. India have not won this game. They've lost to India. And I don't know where I read this. I think it was on Twitter. Somebody said that we keep making mediocre Indian teams seem like they're giants. That 2022 World Cup Indian team, Pakistan was better. This Indian team, Pakistan had them in a chokehold, 120 all out, 119 all out. We keep doing this to ourselves. We keep putting these people on a pedestal. We keep making them heroes. We keep making them heroes in their own country because they come out here and they take 3 and 4 overs with 14 runs. And I think that is the crux of the whole situation, is that we choked. We gave away the wickets. We didn't stay up above the run rate, and we ended up 6 short.
We talked about being invested in this Pakistan team emotionally, financially. One of our teammates, he messaged me before the World Cup and he said, "Hey, Bachar, I'm considering watching Pakistan versus Canada at New York. Do you think it's worth it?" And I said, absolutely it is. Watching a World Cup match of Pakistan is always going to be a wonderful experience. And I also said it's against Canada. It could go any way. So I encouraged him, go buy your ticket. Last week, he messaged me saying, "Bashar, I have my tickets booked. I have my hotel booked. I have my road trip planned." He is spending money on gas. He is spending money on food on the way. He is spending money on a hotel in New York. He is taking a day off from work. He is being away from family. He
Driving.
is driving, just the emotional fatigue involved. And today I met him and he said that he has canceled his plans. His money for hotel, for match tickets, gone down the drain. And this is the impact of the Pakistan team's performance. We had friends today who were at the stadium today, and they said that there were about 98% Indians. And the individual we spoke with, he had spent hundreds of dollars to buy a ticket for this match, all for Pakistan to bottle it, to have him scarred. And I think one thing we aren't realizing is in the past 3 days, the Pakistan cricket team has lost a lot of fans. A lot of people are disheartened. They want to stop watching Pakistan cricket. Some people have quit cricket. We had one person on our Patreon leave the Patreon, said he wanted to just
Take a
stop
break.
watching cricket, just take a break, and that might be better for his mental health. Now, me and you don't have the option to do that
Yeah, we do this now.
yet. But that's just the fact of the matter. The Pakistan team has lost a lot of following. There's been lots of vigor online, lots of criticism, which I think is totally fair and called for.
And today has been one of the worst days of the year, honestly. And it sucks because it was our dad's birthday. And we called him before the game and he was traveling and he was stressed out. And then after the game, he called us not to be like, hey guys, thanks for the birthday wish, to yell at us for 10 minutes. Like, what the hell happened to your team? That Pakistan losing a sitter, 120 runs, unable to chase that. The whole Naseem Shah thing is breaking my heart. And then after that, after 6 hours of humiliation, you and I put on our drawers, take the kit bag, drive 30 minutes, and play a match that was for all ends and purposes, like for all intents and purposes, is in the bag. The opposition was 47 for 6, chasing 111. And we had them. I took a double wicket maiden.
I'm not gonna lie, that second bowled you ball was one of the best balls I've seen you ball or any leg spinner ball.
That was my best delivery
in
ever.
person.
Yeah, that was just one of those. It was a very shy Darfidi delivery. I loved what I was like, the way the ball was releasing. I felt really good in that game. And I had 2 wickets in that over with 0 runs given. 47 for 6 they were in 15. And it was a 25 over match. In the next 10, they needed about 70. Made it.
We bowled extras, we bowled wides.
They won on the last ball. They needed 2 in the last over. And we got them down to the last ball, 1 ball, 1, and they lost.
I think the worst part of this whole situation is...
And then I had to drive back and then do this for an hour. Like, it's been one of the worst days of my life, honest. And my son isn't even here that I can, like Mikhail isn't here that we can, like, cuddle with him and, like, distract ourselves. And
I was gonna say, because we got pictures today from Karachi where Mikhail is wearing his Matrix onesie.
Yeah, he looks so cute.
He looked the cutest baby ever.
But then immediately Simran took it off. He was like, I don't want this trauma to...
Sometimes when life is bad, you come home and you spend time with Mikhail and you're like, this guy is a baby. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't care who Babar is. He doesn't care what cricket is.
Not yet.
So spending time with him is like, it's fun. It's fun. It's a good
it takes your mind off of all this. That's why babies are such a blessing. And we don't have that. So it's just like literally us. Like, I'm going to be, after I'm done, probably going to bed listening to all of the commentary again, just diving deeper into that depression. And it's pretty bad. I don't have anything hopeful to say, anything positive to say. This is a very bleak episode. I really apologize to everybody listening in. But like I said, we had no notes. We just have ESPN Cricket Info open, and we're just going at it through the vibes.
Pakistan faces Canada in 2 days' time. I'm not sure if I'm going to watch that match. I might have to watch it for the sake of the podcast, but I have no hopes. If anything, Pakistan has a pretty good chance of losing to Canada as well. Saad Zafar arm ball to Babar Azam.
I'd be happy if that happens.
Saad Zafar arm ball to Babar Azam, LBW, power play.
Called it.
Could happen. But regardless who wins in that match, I think I'll be happy if Canada wins. I'll be happy Canada won. I'm a Canadian. Pakistan wins. Pakistan won. I bleed green.
Mm-hmm.
But all in all, it's been a pretty sad 3 days as a Pakistan cricket fan.
Yeah, honestly, that's speaking the truth there. I don't have anything else to say. Again, you guys, if you guys want the amalgamation of what I'm feeling from head to toe, Stop Crying Your Heart Out by Oasis. Listen to that, stream that. I might leave a link in the description. That's exactly how I'm feeling right now.
The real ones know that Downers at Dusk by Talhanjum is the song. You know it.
Yeah. What is the I'll leave that for the fans now as we're exiting this podcast. What is the song that you're listening to cope? What is the media that you're consuming to cope? Some people dive deeper into their depression. Some people want to feel numb, so they don't listen to, they don't entertain it. Others just ignore it. How are you coping with this loss, Pakistani cricket fans? And if you're an Indian cricket fan, do let us know how you're celebrating. I know that this was not probably the ideal result for you guys. Definitely, you guys were stressed out because Pakistan played pretty good in the first 30 overs of this game. It was the last time that they bottled it. And yeah, I would love to see what the Indian fans are saying. I would love to see what the Pakistani fans are saying. And neutrals, English, Australian, Nepalese fans, if you guys are listening in, what is your reaction to this whole mess? Um, I have nothing else to say. I think backward point has been one of the best things that's happened to us. But days like this, it's tough. It's tough to continue.
It's tough, but I think at the same time, like as soon as Pakistan lost, flooded again with messages, texts of people wanting the podcast. So here we are. We're giving it to you guys. On that note, I think we're going to call it off. It's been a long day. This is Bashar signing off. And with me, my co-host, my brother.
Yeah, Nazar signing off. Guys, take care. Respect your mental health. Relax. Take some time off of social media. Take some time off of the cricket. And just enjoy ourselves before we get ready to get all the hurt again.
Emoji of the day is heartbreaks.
Yeah.
Actually, I think there's a heartbreak emoji where there's a heart and it has bandages on it.
Yeah, that's a healed heart.
Oh, it's a healed heart.
That's a healed heart from a broken heart. No,
Okay,
we're
no.
straight up broken.
We're heartbreak.
I don't think we've gone into the healing process yet. So we'll put that in the end. And thank you guys for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, join the Patreon, Discord, all that. Okay, out.